you being an orthopedic surgeon, you get to see, you see the reality of what everyone is doing, right? You get to see like, overuse injuries. You get to see wear and tear. What is wear and tear? When a person says, hey, I'm having issues with my knee and it's because of wear and tear. How can you define that? Because it's such a vague term, but it's used. And I'll go talk to the patients before I anesthetize them. I'm like, how did you injure yourself? They're like, wear and tear.
Yeah.
What do people mean when they say that?
So
what do you think they mean?
Let's say like jumper's knee, right?
Yeah.
Or patellar tendonitis, or let's say tendon elbow or lateral epicondylitis. What it actually is the fact that your tendons, which are avascular structures, they don't have blood supplies, they can have a small tear, like you would rip your jacket. The problem is because of that small tear and the lack of blood flow, they don't heal as quickly. Muscles heal all the time. If somebody says, I tore my bicep, tore my hamstring, tore my calf, they're going to heal. They're red. They have a lot of blood supply. Those tendons, though, which are the ones that actually attach to the bones, those don't have as good a blood supply. So when they tear, they take longer to heal. If you continue to do the same activity that causes those micro tears, they're going to take longer and longer and longer and longer to heal, or never heal. And when they never heal, you have that pain, right? Your pain receptors in your brains are just going out of control. You have that lack of function. You have that decreased motion. You have that lack of strength, And most of the people that are tearing it are active. So they're doing something to tear it, whether it's working, whether it's working out, whether it's just whatever it is. So they're going to continue to do those activities. So wear and tear is literally tearing something and wearing it out and not being able to repair it. And that's what causes people to have those needs for surgery or some type of intervention.
Is it something that we're doing on a daily basis, right, that contributes to this tear over time? Say if it wasn't even traumatic tear, right? Like from sports.
Yeah.
That this tear is happening, something that we're doing before the pain even shows up. What are those movements? What are those activities?
Well, one, I think is you're too inactive. So
inactivity.
Your inactivity prevents your muscles and your tendons from being plastic enough or being able to adjust, right? That plasticity isn't there. So you're too inactive. So once you try to be active, your muscles can't like snap into shape. So you have to be active. The inactivity prevents you from not being injured during your activity. So what I tell people is you have to be active. You have to move. You have to walk. You have to go to the gym, and you don't have to go crazy. I mean, no one's asking you to
do 2 hours in the gym.
No, you don't got to be Ronnie Coleman. You know what I'm saying? Lightweight, baby. You don't got to be Ronnie Coleman. Oh. You just have to have some type of activity so that your body understands, like when you turn really quickly, when you lift something, like, okay, it's time to snap into shape because you have muscle memory. 100%. But if your muscles don't have that memory.
But people will say you don't have muscle memory. People will say, it's a lot of talk on the internet. All the bro channels, they're like, it's a muscle, it doesn't have memory.
Well, muscle memory is a colloquial term for you have myostatin, you have enzymes that allow your muscles to, go back to where they were when they were trained. So any of these people that don't say that, I respect your opinion, I don't think anybody should have an opinion, but I would just ask them to go do a little bit more research and study the physiology of a muscle, because that's not entirely true. Your muscles do remember.
That colloquial sounds like it's more of a muscle training.
Exactly.
Even if it's an activity, you train your muscles, you train your tendons to be inactive.
Yeah. And unfortunately, once you do that, then when it becomes active, it's overwhelmed, right?
Yeah.
It's too much for them, and then they get injured.
Yeah, man, that for me is like one of those things where you hear so much. Everybody's in the gym. Everybody's telling you like you need to go crazy. You need to do, 5-6 days a week. You need to do, an hour at a time. How much time do you need on your joints, working out, doing activity for you to be healthy and to keep your joints
Studies
healthy?
have even shown this. You need 30 minutes of activity 3 times a week. 30 minutes 3 times a week. just to be healthy. Now, if you want physique, right? You want the look, you want the muscle striations, you want the cuts, you want the different, like just fibers to pop out. That's different. That's a different type
That's
of
called
training.
vanity.
It's called vanity.
Yeah, because if you 3 days a week is all you need, 30 minutes cardiovascularly for your joints. That's if our ancestors were probably doing our Neanderthal or whatever, humanoid ancestors were probably doing about that much anyway, just walking around, hunting and whatever their schedule was. But like for us, we don't need much. That's the crazy part. And I think the funny thing is like you work out 3 or 4 or 5 times a week, right? You're doing that to protect your joints. You're doing that to stay healthy. But then you injure your joints working out too much.
Overdoing it. Yeah. And that's why I tell people, like I still work out pretty much regularly, and I'm probably more than 30 minutes a day. There's a little more vanity in my workout. There's a little more vanity, I can admit, but it's because I love it and it's good for my mental health as well. But I will say, I'm not gonna go and squat 400 pounds anymore. Like the guys that have worked out with me know that I could bench the world. I will never bench 365 anymore. Like I don't need to, I don't want to, and it's like it's gonna hurt me. So you gotta understand as well, like stay in your lane. What's the purpose for it? If you're a pro and that's what you do and that's how you get paid, it's different. If you're just working out just to stay healthy and have some muscle mass and muscle tone, don't overdo it, because then you're gonna injure yourself.
Totally.